We tried to get our insurance company to pay for the helmet, and they just wouldn't do it. So that's when they decided to start their own foundation and be able to really help kids specifically with helmets.
Hey, I'm Greg Grunberg, and welcome to Talk About It, the podcast where we focus on topics that everybody should be talking about, and hopefully they will be. Not only talking, but screaming about.
Epilepsy shouldn't keep you from doing anything that you want to do.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
While we will continue our focus on epilepsy, of course, we will also look at other health conditions and causes. Our goal is to knock down, drag out, and eliminate stigma and raise awareness. Each episode, you're going to hear from amazing advocates and champions. You will learn, as I will, about how we can all help to make a real difference.
Talking about it is important. It's all about connecting.
Talk about it.
Talk about it.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Thank you for talking about it.
Thank you for talking about it.
Talk About It is sponsored by Seizures Are Signs. Seizures Are Signs is dedicated to educating those living with or caring for someone with uncontrolled seizures about the importance of early diagnosis, recognition, and treatment. To learn more, please visit seizuresaresigns.com. Seizures Are Signs is made available by Jazz Pharmaceuticals. All right, so let's jump right into this episode of Talk About It. Okay, it is so rare that I ever think to myself, you know what, in this crazy world of seizures and epilepsy, that I'm not worthy of compared to people that actually are talking about it and doing it right. And I preach the message over and over again that the more we talk about it, the more we realize we're not alone. And I have to tell you, the people that you're about to meet are just so incredible. I'm so excited to have them on the show. I've seen all these talk show appearances. And of course, they have an incredible organization called Helmets4Helmets. They're going to tell us all about it. And you probably already know about it, but if you don't, you need to donate to it. You need to support their beautiful family and their son, Bryson. I can't wait to jump in. I'm so excited to talk to you guys. Sarah and Aristotle Thompson, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, appreciate you having us on.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for talking about it, by the way. You guys are like my wife and myself and our son and our whole family. We've never shied away from talking about it. And I can't wait to hear what inspired you, why you decided to do and be as vocal as you have been and helping, so many people. But take me back. Let's start at the very beginning. I would love to know, how'd you guys meet?
Funny story. We actually went to high school together, but Aristotle was the top running back in the whole state of Oregon. And I was just a little sophomore cheerleader. And so we didn't know each other in high school, but knew of each other. And then we met out at a restaurant in Portland, where we both grew up, for my sister's 21st birthday. And he just so happened to be there.
Oh, that's so awesome. And hard to get. I mean, you're the stud, dude. You're like, you're the athlete. I mean, tell me.
No, I was just a guy, just a guy, and I just happened to be in the right place, right time years later.
Yeah. Oh, that's so great. And then how long have you guys been married?
14 years. We just celebrated 14 years.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So I wanted to see if she was going to get it right.
Right, exactly. Well, I'll tell you guys are newlyweds. My wife and I just celebrated 30 years.
That's amazing.
Oh, congratulations. That is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, and, going through, first of all, just staying married, staying in love, all of that, when you've got no situations to deal with is tough. And I'm sure you guys know plenty of people that it either brings you together or it splits you up, when you've got an issue like this. So you guys married, and then your first son. Tell me when did that happen? And you have such a beautiful family. Tell me about your whole family.
Oh, thank you so much. We have 4 kids.
Oh,
and so we have 3 boys and 1 girl, and so our daughter is the third in line.
Okay.
So 2 boys, a daughter, and then a son. And so right now their age ranges from 13 to 8.
When did Bryson get diagnosed? I've heard the story, but I want everyone to hear it.
Bryson got diagnosed when he was almost 4 years old. And so back in 2015, and we just noticed that he would be running and he would just fall over. Oh. And it would take him a minute and he would pick himself back up. But we thought it was weird that he was never catching himself. And so we honestly thought that his feet were growing too fast. Mm-hmm. And he just couldn't keep up. Our oldest son, Brock, was huge. Right now he's 13 and he's almost 6'3". And so we just thought that he was going on that path.
Right.
And he was just getting too big. And then it just kept happening. And one time he ran towards me and he just looked, you could see that terrified look in his eyes. Right. And he fell over and he had, obviously we know now they were drop seizures. And I was naive in the beginning, right? I always pictured a seizure as the full clonic-tonic grand mal that you see. I didn't know that there were all types of seizures.
So you guys had no history in your family like us. We had absolutely nothing. Yeah. And then Jake had drop attacks. I mean, I have to say, with Jake, we were in Chicago once and we're walking down the sidewalk. I'm holding his hand, guys, and he lunges forward. And drop attacks, I don't know if it was the same with Bryson, but like there's an audible as well as the physical. So Jake would go, oh, and just drop as if a linebacker was hitting him from behind. It was so violent. And it's one of the things, and we've been through so much, as I'm sure you have as well. One of the things that I'll never get out of my head is his skull hitting the sidewalk in Chicago. Mm-hmm. And we didn't take him to an emergency room because I was like, okay, because I had his hand and I was like, okay, but he really hit hard. And we went back to the hotel. And now looking back and the journey that we've been through, Jake, it's like now I tell anybody they have a head injury of any kind, go check it out. You never know if you could have internal bleeding or whatever. So he's having these episodes, and you went to the pediatrician. And I mean, when did you know that it was seizures and epilepsy?
Well, we went to the ER and they kind of talked us through it a little bit and, wanted to give him medication, but we were kind of like, we're not going to dive into any medication right now. So we set up an appointment with the neurologist locally. And I think within the next 3 or 4 days, we went and saw the neurologist and kind of went through, the diagnosis of kind of what had been going on kind of through the history of what we've been seeing. And that was kind of the first onset of them saying, okay, hey, we feel that he has epilepsy.
Yeah. Because he's had more than one seizure, exactly. And they're unexplained. So you couldn't say, well, he had a fever or he was sick, right. Or one of the other kids had a cold.
Right.
Yeah.
And the length of time that they were happening, when he had the one where he was running towards Sarah, and then he had another one. It was I'll never forget. It was a Sunday after Thanksgiving in 2015 that was the first one that I actually really saw and said, okay, hey, this is different. Yeah. Just he was down and out.
Right. Absolutely. So he was post-ictal, like afterwards he would, exactly. Yeah. We've experienced that as well. So, okay. And then you went on medication. So you said, okay, we got to start taking medication because Jake, my son, is a difficult to treat DRE, drug resistant epilepsy.
Bryson. Mm-hmm.
And Bryson, yeah. So which really sucks, man. Oh, as you know, because you're constantly chasing and over medicating in one, and then it's the balance of all of them. We actually had a neurologist who actually was a pharmacologist, so we had the advantage of them, really knowing how to mix the cocktail of it all. But so Bryson's on a combination of meds?
They did put him on medication, and about a week and a half later, he had his first grand mal clonic tonic in the backyard with Brock. It was 15 minutes long of seizing, and then about 2 hours of unresponsive time.
Are you wait? That's horrible.
It was awful.
Was Brock alone?
Brock was alone in the backyard with him. Our youngest was 6 months old at the time, if that. And so I was inside cooking dinner, and we had explained to Brock a little bit that if you ever see Bryson fall, then come and let us know. He's only 5 at this time. Yeah. And so just come and let us know if he falls over. Aristotle was out recruiting, and Bryson came running in and said that Bryson had fallen and he's not getting up. And so I ran around the corner and I could see out the back door that he was face down and not moving. And I actually thought that we had already lost him.
Oh, man.
And so I rolled him over and his eyes were clicking back. And I told Brock to go grab my phone so we could call 911. And as a 5-year-old, Brock blew me away. It was like he just knew what to do. He was helping take care of the other two. He was waiting by the door for more instructions.
Wow.
He went and opened the door for the firefighters. That piece to me was something that I'll never forget, that he just instantly jumped in.
Yeah.
And knew what to do without ever really going through this yet.
Yeah. I mean, and to know what to do when you have terrible parents like you guys. I mean,
Right?
where did he get it?
I don't know how he did that.
How did he get, I mean, I'm not giving you guys credit. That's incredible. And you're recruiting. I mean, Coach, tell me, were you recruiting in the same area, or were you like me? Sometimes I'm out of town shooting and
Yeah, I was out of town. I was in, we were living in San Luis Obispo at the time, so on the Central Coast.
Yeah.
I was in San Diego.
Oh, boy.
And at the time, I had driven down to San Diego because I had other stops along the way. So my plan was to drive back. So when she called me, I'm at a practice. I'm watching a practice. I'm going over to have dinner with the family, in about an hour. And everything just stopped. I had my boss, he was there with me. I went over and told him what was going on, and he was awesome. He's like, hey, get out of here. So I went and told the young man, hey, I can't come over. I got an emergency that I have to go handle. And then I called my mom and told her, because I thought he was going to be gone by the time I got back.
My God,
San Diego, in retrospect, is about 5.5 hours from San Luis Obispo on a drive, right?
Yeah.
And you know how it is driving through LA traffic and
the worst.
So I got lucky that it was, it was probably about 5:30 when she called me, and I think I made it back by about 8:30, 8:45.
Wow, unbelievable.
Coming up on Talk About It.
Currently, we have a soft shell headgear that we primarily sell into football. We started getting calls from doctors and parents saying, hey, my son or daughter has seizures or epilepsy, and we think your helmets would be perfect. So we created a product that's compliant for the medical industry, and it's called Guardian Helmets.
I love it. Okay, so the podcast is called Talk About It. The website is called Talk About It. Talk about it on video.com, talkaboutit.org. Why are we talking about it? The most important, outside of removing the stigma, the most important reason is because if you talk about it with the people around you, they'll know what to do in case you have a seizure. The only way to get that message across is to talk about it. Talk about it at dinner, talk about it with friends, say, hey, by the way, I just want you to know. And we're talking about simple things, right? We're talking about common sense things. Don't let somebody fall. Seizures start very slowly, and then the fall is the thing that's going to hurt them. Well, if people know what to do, then they'll make sure if they see some sort of seizure activity, they'll be right there for them. When Jake was in elementary school and junior high, we talked about free hugs. These kids get these free hugs. They're like, oh, give me a free hug. I said, if you ever see Jake have a seizure, have a free hug. Who did I tell that to? Who did I talk about it with? This was called an in-service at school. So go to the school, go to your kid's school and talk about it. Say, hey, can I get the teachers together? And then the teachers will talk about it with the class. It's something that, it's an education. They want to do it. Now, in an office setting, same thing. Put up something, on the wall, search it, go to talkaboutit.org, and we have a poster that you can put it up in the office. If you talk about this, if people around you, if friends, family, relatives, boyfriends, girlfriends, whoever know what to do, they could save your life or the life of your loved one. Talk about it. Let's fast forward a little bit to when you decided that Bryson should be wearing a helmet, because that's a choice. It's your big cause and everything, and I'm completely with you. It is a tough thing for a kid who's so active, doesn't want a neon sign above their head that says, I'm different, I have epilepsy. I mean, we went through this with Jake. It was like, do we get him a seizure dog and wear a helmet? And I actually, I don't know if you remember, Nick, I developed a helmet that actually goes inside, and it was for baseball too. I was going to use it for baseball because pitchers. By the way, let's talk, just because you're such a sports family. My kids play baseball. My son played at LMU, right? And I'll be sitting there. The first base coach, the third base coach have to wear helmets, which doesn't make any sense.
Right.
First of all, the coaches are in uniform. Coach, I want to see you in a football uniform on the sidelines. What is going on with baseball? Why?
Not happening.
I know.
Won't do it.
I don't understand. So you've got all this weird, quirky stuff in baseball. And then the pitcher, who is the closest to the ball when it comes off the bat, is not wearing a helmet. Right. And I've seen kids get hit in the head. I've seen them. And so I actually, during this time, I'm like, all right, Jake doesn't want to wear a helmet. He doesn't want people to know he's wearing a helmet. So, but he did. We were like, you hit your head. We need some cushioning. So this thing that was inside of any baseball cap, it went in, and so you didn't realize that it was a helmet. It looked like a normal baseball hat. When did you decide? Okay, you know what? This is something Bryson needs to have and wear as much as he can.
I think it was after, one of those times where I was in the bathroom with him and he's brushing his teeth, and I'm literally standing there, and I go to get a wash rag or something for him to wipe toothpaste off his mouth, and he drops and has a seizure right next to me, and he hits his head on the step stool that he was on. And so he has this huge black eye going, and I'm like, I'm literally standing right here.
Yeah.
If I can't, protect him, we got to do something more. There has to be something else that we can do to help him.
Yeah. We, as parents, we're going to do whatever we can to protect our kids. And that's where I'm sure, your foundation was born out of. And like I was in Chicago, I was holding Jake's hand. You're standing next to him in the bathroom. The bathroom's the scariest place in the world if you have a seizure. So is that moment when you said, all right, we got to look into something, and you found helmets, or did you?
And he was having 100 a day at the time. We couldn't even, he had 100 and I think it was 15 hours, and our hospital in San Luis Obispo couldn't get him to stop. So they actually put, again, Aristotle was at a recruiting dinner, and we had to pull him because they were putting him back in an ambulance to rush him down to CHLA to get him down there, because they just couldn't, which I do appreciate the fact that they said, this is over our heads and we can't get it to stop. We got to get you somewhere bigger.
Yeah. And
so then it was there. And I think we were in the at CHLA for a week and a half. Mm-hmm. And it was there that they told us that he needs to start wearing a helmet. If he's having 100 in 18 hours, he needs to start wearing a helmet.
I was on Ellen once, and she asked me, because I had said somewhere, Jake's had hundreds of seizures. There are days when he'll have 100 seizures. People don't realize that it's a little tick, a little fall, a little thing. It's not all tonic-clonic big seizures, and but it affects. That's not a quality of life that you. So that's why you're chasing the meds. You're trying to get this to stop.
You actually just answered a question as me outside of the epilepsy community.
Yeah.
Other than my affiliation with you and Jake.
Yeah.
I would have no idea that's that's seizures, and that a little tick or just
something.
Well,
a lot of people don't understand it. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you guys have gone through this too, where it's like people go, Bryson's just he's daydreaming. Mm-hmm. He's ignoring me. He's this and that. We heard that from teachers where they're like, Jake just doesn't pay attention. And we're like, wait a minute. I mean, I remember we were in an IEP, individual education plan. We were in the meeting with the teachers, and this teacher, I mean, look, teachers have a really tough job. Mm-hmm. But she literally says to us, I have 35 kids in the classroom. What do you expect me to do?
Wow.
Just like that. And it was just that misunderstanding. People just don't get it. They don't understand.
Yep.
But it was Jake having 100 plus seizures a day that we realized that surgery was an option for Jake. And when they did that surgery, they did a partial callosotomy where they partially split the two parts of the brain, because you can't have drop attacks unless both sides of the brain are communicating. It's I don't know. They explained that to me. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong, but I remember at that time. And so when they did that, they did it just enough that it wouldn't affect his peripheral vision and all this stuff. Thank God it did work. But he's continued to have breakthroughs and seizures. But was that ever an option? Surgery or
We've done surgeries. He had the VNS implant.
Yeah, Jake has that too.
And he it worked for a little while, but then it stopped working. And so we actually had it removed last year. just because it was starting to actually pull on his vagus nerve, and because the wires were being too stretched out.
Yeah.
And so, but it wasn't working anymore anyway. And so we actually had that removed, and I feel like we've tried the ketogenic diet and all of the, now we're trying to try different things that aren't surgery before we try more surgery.
Yeah, no, of course. And the VNS is it's the easiest surgery compared to the other options. For us, it was a really, really, really tough decision because you have all these doctors that meet the surgical team, 20 people, top, everybody's always gets to the top doctors in the world, and we're in Chicago for this. And like 70% of them said it should work. 30% said, we don't think so. And then they put it off on you. Then they call you and they're like, all right, Sarah, Aristotle, what do you want to do? I mean, like, what are you talking about? It was really a tough decision. It was a good decision for us, but we're just constantly chasing, as I'm sure you guys are. But okay, let's talk about something happier, because I cannot. I mean, people say this about Jake too. He's 26 now, but your son, man, talk about lighting up a room. I mean, he's a stud. Bryson and I don't know your other kids as well from the tapes that I've seen, but what a beautiful, I mean, he's just gorgeous. He's like, and he's funny and he's smiling and everything. How is he today right now? Is he still like, does he let this get to him? Are there moments, because Jake gets really bummed and, it's like we just keep pushing forward, but how is his spirits?
Today has been a good day for him. Actually, the past couple of days have been solid, and he takes it in stride. I mean, there's those days that he has a couple seizures that he just doesn't want to do anything. He won't want to get off the couch. He just wants to sit and relax and eat a little food, drink some water. But then there's those other days that he'll have one. He's like, all right, I'm still going out to go shoot hoops.
Yeah,
I'm going out front. I'm going to go shoot some baskets, or hey, I'm going to play my flag football game.
Yeah.
Or hey, I got baseball practice. So he doesn't let it completely shut him down. It's nice that he still wants to be active, right? He still wants to play sports. He still wants to go bounce on the trampoline, because it's like, oh, hey, you guys are doing that, I'm going to go do that too.
Yeah.
Not, oh, I had a seizure, so I can't. And it's the toughest thing to stop him from going to go do those things or want to go do those things after he's had a seizure, because he totally wants to go. And he's like, I don't care. We're like, hey, we got to go with you, or hey, we can't do this. Yeah. We got to settle down. Hey, we need to take a break. And he's like, okay, I'll take a break, but then I'm going right back at it.
Isn't it crazy? Honestly, I don't know if it's because this is all they know. What do you think it is? Let's just talk about it. You're a coach. You have a successful business, Sarah. It's like, did he just sees, the trains moving all the time and this just keep going, or is this all he knows?
Sports is all sports motivates him, moves him. I'll tell his paraeducator, if you need something to help him, get through or even pull him out of a seizure, he has practice today, or he has a game later today. And a lot of the times that will work. First, sports just motivates him. Yeah.
They fuel him, and he loves sports, loves basketball, loves baseball. You start talking about that, or you get him joking around about, a rival team or something. Okay. It'll settle the waters, but he's just a natural fighter. That's just him, just not going to let stuff, hold him back, not going to let stuff, stop him from doing anything.
Yeah, it's great. Jake has this quote that he got from Rocky, where it's not about how hard you hit, but how hard you get hit and get back up and keep moving forward, man. Jake's this huge Rocky creed. I mean, it's just, he loves it. He's also, he's a second degree Taekwondo black belt, and he teaches kids now. But it's that where he goes, and between, us as parents, there's a mat there. So he has had an episode at Taekwondo, but they're like family, and where he falls, he's not going to hurt himself because there's a mat. And okay, so let's get to how vocal you guys have been. You're an inspiration. I'm telling you, I'm not just saying that. I am not patting you on the back. I don't need to get your heads any bigger. I'm telling you, I'm so inspired by what you guys do. And how did you get on these talk shows and with all these people? Is it because you know everybody in sports and that history, Aristotle? I mean, how has this happened, and when did you decide to start Helmets for Helmets?
Well, it was really the boys that started it, that they came up with the idea. There was a local nonprofit in San Luis Obispo that said, hey, we want to, they had helped us, right? They had helped us with some resources and being able to, all the different, I mean, you know, all the different travel and places that you go, the different doctors that you see, we're going all over California. And so they gave us some assistance with some things, and they actually stepped in with the first helmet. And so the boys said, hey, we want to help them because they were having their fundraiser. They wanted to help them. And so they said, hey, Dad, can you call some people that we can get some stuff donated for their auction? And I said, no, you guys can call.
No, I'm not doing that. Wait, let's give them a little shout out. What's the name of that organization?
That organization is Jack's Helping Hand.
Jack's Helping Hand. Okay. So people, if you're listening to this, watching this, check that out. Okay. So you said to them, you said no because you wanted them to do the work.
I wanted them to do the work. You know, I'm from the old school that, you know, you got to get up and get it done yourself. You know, I don't want to just be handing stuff out to my kids. So, you know, I did a couple text and phone calls like, hey, the boys are going to be reaching out, but we made them call and do the asking.
Oh, you are a football coach. I can see it.
So Nick, by the way, Nick played football. Tell him about your little
I was tight end and defensive end in high school. I was in Western PA, and then I got leveled my senior year, game 6, all game long by a guy that was going 1AA, and I was, looking to go D1. Yeah. And I walked off the field. The field was slanted because I got hit in the head so many times, and I knew, I was like, you know what? Let's stick to entertainment. Let's just do that.
Right. Yeah. That's so funny. By the way, I just want to ask you real quick: are you more conscious of head injuries because of Bryson and because of what you're going through and Helmets for Helmets with football? I have to ask it. It's this is your world, and some parents won't let their kids play football because of the injury.
I can't say I'm more cautious or more conscious. I think if I see somebody that is showing signs of having a concussion, I think I'm much slower to engage them about, hey, work through the protocols. But I think more for anything else is when I see guys showing signs of maybe having absence seizure, right? Or I see them kind of dazing off. I'm less likely to say, oh, hey, you're daydreaming, right? More inclined to talk to them about it. We actually had a player, not this past season before, he actually had a seizure the night before one of our games. And so I didn't know about it initially. I found out about it on game day. So immediately, I called him and, brought him into the office and talked to him about, our journey with it, and just let him know, hey, man, you're not alone. Yeah. So I don't know if these are going to keep happening to you. I don't know, if this is done, but either way, you got somebody you can come in and talk to. If your parents want to call me to talk to me about it, whatever I can do to help you, I'm here for it. So I don't know. I think injuries happen in the game of football. Head injuries happen. I don't think that it's something that you can 100% say it is going to happen or it's not going to happen. I think it's part of sport, I guess, or part of this sport. So
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you make your kids call some people, and you helped out with that auction for Jackson's Helping Hand.
Jack's Helping Hand.
Jack's Helping Hand. Okay.
Jack's Helping Hand. Yeah, and we called. So my dad played in the NFL for 16 years. So 13 years were for the Saints.
Oh, your dad.
And my dad.
Okay. I knew there was a connection. I'm like, these guys are better connected than I am. I mean, I got Alan Faneca. He had epilepsy, or still does, and his daughter. Yeah. So Alan's a buddy and a buddy of Nick's from Pittsburgh. But so you're now this is making sense.
So my dad also has a foundation where we give back to military Gold Star families. But anyway, so we still do stuff with the Saints. And so one of our really good friends from that, Zach Streif, who was Drew Brees' offensive lineman. And so I texted him and said, hey, the boys are going to call, same thing. And so the boys called him and asked for a Drew Brees helmet for the auction.
Awesome.
And he got it immediately and sent it. And so then the boys, I think, got that kind of a bug and saw that they could help. Jack's Helping Hand helps kids in that county in San Luis Obispo. And the boys wanted to be able to do a farther reach. And so that's when they decided to start their own foundation and be able to really help kids specifically with helmets like Bryson, because they saw, I mean, we tried to get our insurance company to pay for the helmet and they just wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
They just said, no, it's not necessary, even though the doctors are telling you it's necessary. And so that was something that they really wanted to do. And at this table right here, they just decided this is what we want to do.
Yeah.
Coming up on Talk About It.
The View with Kobe Bryant, that was one of our very first ones.
Yeah.
And he invited Brock after all the filming was done down for the whole weekend and worked with Brock on basketball. And we have videos of him working with our daughter who is just tiny, tiny.
Okay, we're talking football. We're talking about protecting people, protecting from head injuries, and helmets. Obviously, Helmets4Helmets. This is their organization. Well, there's another guy that I know in this space. He and his dad have been providing helmets, soft shell helmets, for athletes, for football players, college, youth, and pros when they practice. And they also started a division to help people in the epilepsy community. It's called GuardianHelmets.com. His name is Jake, and we're getting him on the phone right now. He's traveling. He's a big business guy, but he's a good friend of mine. You're going to love this. So Jake, I know that was an overblown introduction I just gave, talking about how much I love what you're doing, and you and I are friends, but I had to let everyone in the epilepsy community know what exactly you and your dad are doing. Please tell us about these helmets, a little bit about the sports side, but also what you're doing for the epilepsy community.
100%. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. Very honored to be here. I love what you guys are doing. It's absolutely incredible and extremely powerful. A little bit of background. We're from the sporting goods manufacturing space. We've white labeled for products like Adidas. We make uniforms, apparel, headgear. Currently, we have a soft shell headgear that we primarily sell into football. So NFL teams, colleges, high schools around the country.
So this is what we've kind of seen. It may be yours, it may be a different product, but when you're watching football or you're watching them on the practice field, you see these soft shell helmets so they don't hurt themselves, right?
Yeah, and really, it's just been there's no one that requires it. It's just athletes are putting player safety first, and so are their parents and their coaches. Which is awesome. And, after the first few years of us doing this, we started getting calls from doctors and parents saying, hey, my son or daughter has seizures or epilepsy or head banging or autism, and we think your helmets would be perfect. So we did our due diligence, went and got FDA registered, created a product that's very similar to our sports helmet, but different and compliant for the medical industry. And it's called Guardian Helmets. So it comes in a bunch of different colors. We could put logos on it. So some kids will like to put, logos or a slogan or their nickname or a number.
I love it.
And it's.
And you know what's
honestly
great? What's great is that it's also in the football space. You and I were talking about this yesterday. How it's not. I mean, look, it's something that that certain kids have to have, but to know that football players are wearing it as well, it takes that stigma a little bit away, and kids and their parents go to GuardianHelmets.com, check out these helmets, look at them, and this is me personally as a parent of now he's a grown man, but when he was struggling, when he was 12, 13, 14, it's something that you should have. They may not need to wear it all the time. Some people will, some people won't. But go to GuardianHelmets.com. You'll see it. It's really cool. And you this morning came up with something so amazing, a discount code for people to put in. You want to tell them about that?
100%. Yeah. So for listeners of this podcast, we wanted to offer 10% off if you wanted to try it out. If you don't love it, you can always return it too. But yeah, 10% off for listeners for the next 2 weeks. The code is just talk about it. So if you type in talk about it in all caps on guardianhelmets.com, you could check out, and we have inventory, and we'll ship it to you within the next week.
I love it. And then we're going to feature you guys in studio as we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the helmets. We're going to talk about how people have, responded. You get a lot of reviewers and a lot of people sending messages in. I know they're heartfelt, and I have found a ton online about people that really care that a business like yours cares about a community, and you guys really do. So thank you. I know you're traveling. Thank you for piping in on the road. It was great seeing you yesterday. And remember, guys, go to guardianhelmets.com. Use the promo code talk about it. Super simple, all one word, and you'll get 10% off for the next 2 weeks. But look into this because it's something to have. It's I hate to use the word cool because, yeah, it's not cool. Obviously, your child or your loved one has to wear a helmet. But if they do and you want to protect them, this is a cool one to have. So, Jake, thank you so much.
Thank you, Greg. I really appreciate it, and I love what you're doing.
Awesome. You too. But how do you get on The View? How does Kobe Bryant fit into this? I mean, this is like, that was so special. And then, I mean, look at this. There you guys are on the show. How did this happen?
So I have to tell you, this has been the craziest thing about all of this. We don't have a PR person. I run the boys' social media because I don't want them on social media yet.
Mm-hmm.
And The View and Kelly Clarkson, I mean, the producer for Kelly Clarkson, she reached out to me 3 times on Twitter before I even saw it. And so they just reached out to us, which has been the most amazing thing.
Yeah.
To see. But I mean, The View with Kobe Bryant, that was one of our very first ones.
Yeah.
And
yeah. And
he is, I mean, such an amazing human. He invited Brock after all the filming was done, after the cameras were down, to come down and work with him one-on-one. And so brought us down for the whole weekend and worked with Brock on basketball. And we have videos of him working with our daughter, who is just tiny.
Wow.
And just gave his time with no cameras. There was nothing, right?
Yeah.
Like, and for a superstar, a legit superstar
the
to
biggest.
just,
yeah.
And he wore a quite like Bryson wristband when he was at different basketball tournaments. I mean, an amazing human. So
wow.
Yeah.
That's just incredible. And then it's the other athletes who have really stepped up and have helped. I mean, it's, once you start this process and you're successful with it, it's like you got to feed that beast. It's never ending. So I'm sure you guys are constantly looking out. I'd never let somebody go. I work with, I was on A Star Is Born, right? And then Bradley's an old friend of mine, but I was like, Gaga, we're in the car, and her name's Stephanie. We're shooting a scene, and she says, hey, I just want to thank you for what you do for epilepsy. My dad had epilepsy. And I was like, I'm never letting you go now. You're going to help me forever. And sure enough, she helped, and she helped raise money. And it's like people...
I like the idea of you calling her Gaga, by the way.
Exactly. Yes.
Hey, Gaga, can you?
Although I insist on her calling me Mr. Grunberg. There's a protocol. I'm sorry. No, but it's like people like that, that you put on such a pedestal, rightfully so. So incredibly talented. Kobe Bryant. I mean, yet they just want to help. I have so many friends. If you go on talkaboutit.org, you see all these celebrities, all these people. And before we joined this club that I wish I was never a member of as a parent of a child with epilepsy, I would go to an event because I wanted to help. And I'm standing there going, what is this about? At Children's Hospital, what do they do? And how does this work? And, it's like you just want direction and it's more satisfying. I'm sure you guys feel this, the help that you're giving, and you see directly the impact. The funds pay for helmets for kids like your son who need that protection, right?
Yeah. And it's been amazing to see the athletes come out of the woodwork and really, we have never purchased a helmet, which blew some people's minds away. We get them directly from the athletes themselves. And Brock, when he was younger, he would sit down with a crayon and a piece of paper and send these letters out to teams, just kind of like a cold call. So that piece has been really amazing. And then to be able to, we've only had one in-person event, and we're planning another one here for the Bay Area, which we'd love for you to come to. But
tell me about this. I want to talk to you about this. It's a gala, right?
It's a gala. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I did one for UCLA, and it was a bunch of parents whose kids have epilepsy. By the end of the event, we all hated each other. And the event cost $100,000 and we raised $125,000. And I was like, oh my God. Because it was one of those things. Please tell me you're doing it differently. And
we do it differently. We're going to do it at the top of the Cal football stadium, which is the most beautiful place, I think, because one side overlooks the field, obviously, and the other side looks over the entire city, which is just so beautiful.
Beautiful, yeah.
And we just really need to raise funds. We bought a helmet for a kiddo yesterday, and there's still, so much out there that needs to be done. And so, yes, so we're going to get on this. And
awesome.
And Maurice Jones-Drew, I don't know if you know that name from football. He's going to be our host.
Oh, that's fantastic. So
yes.
there's a group that I want to hook you guys up with. They're called Artists and Athletes Alliance, and they're out of DC, and they have all the athletes cross all the sports and everything, and they want to help. That's all they want to do is help. I sometimes will sit in with they have these Zooms where it's actors and athletes, and we get to hear from members of Congress or senators or whatever on what they're doing. And just, it's a great organization though, because they come together. It's like what we do at Talk About It, where we throw fuel on the fire. So you guys have created this incredible fire, and you need more help. You can never have too much help, right? So I definitely want to hook you guys up with them. They're incredible. It's a great organization.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic.
I saw on the site, but Helmets for Helmets, you go to helmets4helmets.com, and the auction, you can click through to the auction. A lot of the items are already gone, but you're getting more items in all the time. And then there's a donate button, which people can donate. Please donate what you can. Nothing is too small. It all adds up. You got pictures, beautiful pictures of the memorabilia, and more importantly, of your beautiful family. And then you've got your mission on there, the history of the organization, and media. There's videos on there. The media is great.
Yep.
From the Pac-12 network to ABC's The View, NFL Network did an incredible piece on you guys. There's a lot of content on there. It's really, really great. So I just encourage people to go. I'm sure that's where you encourage people to go, and then they can also buy tickets to the gala at the site.
Yes. Once we have all of that up, then we'll put those tickets up there. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. We were going to do it. And actually, this is kind of a sad thing, but Bryson has not been doing very well the last couple of months.
Yeah.
And so that's obviously where our focus has been. And so we had to postpone this gala until next season. So
yeah, that's the most important thing. By the way, I cannot tell you how many times I've had, and now let me ask you this: what are Bryson's triggers? Like, do you know if he gets overly excited, will that trigger something? Because inevitably, whenever I've set up some like really great thing for Jake, because by the way, this empowers Bryson and you guys. I do this selfishly because I can control this. Right. We can't control when the seizures happen, and it's just satisfying for me to be able to do something, that means something. And no one can tell me no. I'm sitting here with Nick. We're doing a podcast. I'm talking to beautiful people. It's like, here we go. It's like, it's a good day. Even though, we had a breakthrough seizure this morning at home, and it just sucks. It sucks. Do you think are there triggers, is my question for Bryson?
There are triggers. EMFs is a big trigger, actually. So from cell phones or video games or anything like that, the full moon, kind of all those, the full moon is a big trigger for him.
What? I want to know about this. Wow. Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like 2 days before to 2 days after a full moon, every single time he will have massive amounts of seizures.
Wow. And what is that attributed to? Just Like when there's a full moon, what's different?
We don't know if it's the gravitational pull that it has on the earth, whatnot, but something within that window. You know, initially I was like, I don't know. And then like clockwork, here it is, full moon, boom, 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 3-4 days in a row. Wow. And it's not just one or two. It's he has them in the morning. He has a really rough day at school and he just can't function at school. And then it's at night. It's just around the clock, you know, again, anywhere from 3 to 5 days or so around a full moon. It's just, it goes like haywire. That's, you know, early on him getting overexcited, like how you were saying, jumping up and down. Yeah. That when he was very young, that was, but not so much anymore. But that the full moon is probably the biggest one. And then, you know, probably, as you know, lack of sleep or dehydration. If it doesn't have enough water going on or isn't sleeping well. Yeah. It's, you know, or not sleeping enough, I guess I should say. Yeah. You know, those are triggers for them.
Have you, because like we did the ketogenic diet and it just didn't work for Jake. And it's so hard. I mean, it's just, so hard. I mean, it's brutal on them. And, but it does work for some people. And it didn't work for Jake, but a version of it, like Jake just doesn't have any candy or cookies or bread. He just cuts it out. And he's 26. It's easier than, you know, than a child, a young adult. But I don't know. Is diet something that you guys are conscious of?
Diet is something that's used. We did the whole ketogenic diet, and like you said, it was rough. Yeah. You know, all the planning of the meals and measuring, and I mean, we just had all this food stocked up for him, and it was just rough because not only did he have to limit what he was eating, the portions that he was eating, but he wasn't growing. You know, he wasn't getting enough nutrients to grow. So, you know, I took him to the doctor last week, I think, and I was at work, and I put him on a scale, and he was 85 pounds, and I was fired up. Because it was a year ago, you know, a year and a half, he was like 42 pounds.
Wow.
You know, so just seeing him put the weight on, but definitely the diet part of it, you know, we're still very cognizant of things that can be triggers from, like he doesn't have anything that's tomato based. Anything with tomato based or tomatoes in it, out. For a long time, part of the keto diet was him having eggs. And since come to find out that eggs are a trigger for him. So we've cut a lot of different dairy products, but most, you know, egg-based things, we've cut that out as well, you know.
Yeah, it's a
same thing.
What is it?
No sugar also. Yeah.
No sugar, This is just, again, it just adds to the fact that as a parent, you just have to, you know, like I videotaped Jake this morning because I was like, okay, I want to make sure, you know, and we don't do that all the time. We don't call the paramedics. We know, you know, that he's going to, I can tell when it's a short one compared to, obviously, if it's rhythmic and it just doesn't stop, it's tough. But I just, you know, I wish we could go on and on and on. You guys are so awesome. So follow you. So you encourage people to follow you on social medias, on all the social media platforms, and but go to Helmets4Helmets.com and check them out. Please support these guys. You guys are doing it right. If there's anything I can do, please keep me you know, informed. Now we have each other's info. I want to definitely be a part of the gala if I can, and help and contribute. I'll get you some Star Wars stuff, whatever I can do. I wore a helmet in Star Wars. They wouldn't even give me my helmet in Star Wars. It's at Disneyland. They like have my suit and my, you know, these Disney. But anything I can do, you know, maybe I'll call them and get them to donate some toy helmets, and then I can sign them for you. Something like that. Something, you know, we'll do something fun. Awesome. But let's definitely stay in touch. You guys are not far from me. You know, I'm in LA, so I'm sure, you know, you guys are passing through or whatever. I'd love to get together. And thank you for all the talking that you're doing. I know you're doing much more than that, but it really helps that you're not buried your head in the sand. And it helps your family, I know, but you're helping so many people, man. It's just great.
Thank you for what you're doing, because we're right with you that this is why we started talking. We don't want people to feel like they're on an island by themselves. Yeah. Because that's how we felt in the beginning. And I'm sure you guys did too. And that's so important to me as just a mom, is to not feel like I got to figure this out on my own. There's other people out there that you have a community. So
absolutely. Also, I want to offer this up because I know Jake would have wanted me to, and you got to have, look, Bryson's got to talk to somebody else who's gone through this, and Jake can be that for him. So honestly, he can just pick up the phone and call. I mean, look, he's got a great brother, sister, brothers and great parents. But to be able to call and go, and Jake's like, hey man, okay, so just keep going. I did this and this. He can ask him any questions he wants. It really will be a great thing, and Jake would love to do it.
That would be amazing. We would love that.
Yes, we would. Thank you.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's important, and you guys are not alone. I'm giving you a huge hug right now. I hope you feel it. Nick's not a hugger. He doesn't care. Nick doesn't care.
I'm still in football mode. I'm ready to run somewhere.
I know exactly. He's going to send you his recruiting tape from back in the day, Coach.
Perfect.
I'm hitting the sled right now.
Shoot it over. I'm ready to watch some tape. I'll let Bryson evaluate you. He evaluates tape with me.
Oh, perfect. All right, guys. You guys take care. Send my love to everybody in the family, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. Appreciate all you do as well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay, guys, thank you for listening to this incredible episode of Talk About It and meeting the most incredible people. In the epilepsy community, we come across people that are doing extraordinary things, but not just extraordinary things on their own. They are doing that in the face of dealing with seizures and epilepsy every single day. This is like an earthquake in the back of your mind. You know it's going to strike at some point. Something's going to happen. And unfortunately for Bryson, he's been struggling. And we filmed this a few months ago and recorded this episode, and he's been struggling. He's had his great days and his bad days. Please follow them on social media. They are such an amazing family, and I cannot thank them enough for taking their time, for our podcast, but also for everything that they're doing for the community. They have their hands full. They have a beautiful family. He's running a football program at a major D1 college, and she's got a whole career. It's incredible that they devote their time to making sure that other kids like Bryson get the help and the helmets that they need. I just love people like this, and I love you, and I love everybody in the epilepsy community. We're all in this together, and if you have something that you're trying to push out there, get a hold of us. Go to talkaboutit.org, go to talkaboutitonvideo.com, and let us know what you're doing, and I'd love to feature you on the podcast just like this. I want to hear from you. I want the community to know about what you're doing. God bless you. Take care. Stay strong, Bryson. We're thinking about you. Stay strong, buddy. You are our hero. All right? Fight like Bryson. Thanks for listening to this episode of Talk About It. More amazing people and amazing stories on upcoming episodes. Well, that's a wrap on another episode of Talk About It. Remember, we're all human. We're all dealing with something, and a little compassion every day can change so many lives. Thank you to our special guests. Special thanks to our sponsor, SeizuresAreSigns.com. Thank you to J.J. Abrams for our theme music. Thank you to Nick Marzak for producing, directing, editing, and incidental music. On behalf of my fellow producers, Phil Gattone, Ken Lohenberg, and Nick Marzak, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And if you're not watching, go to talkaboutitonvideo.com to watch these episodes. They're now on video as well. I'm Greg Grunberg. Don't forget to talk about it, and I will see you next time.
This podcast is a production of the Talk About It Company.